Welcome to Big Money Stylist Podcast. We're on episode 13. Time is flying. Stop laughing.
I'm just
it's
so impressed
serious.
with how loud that was. Like, my ear just about blew up.
I think my headphones aren't working. I can
Val?
barely hear anything.
Well,
I'll just be talking extra loud today, guys.
Like,
Because I
wow.
can't hear.
I thought I was awake. but
that
now I
actually
am.
made my headphones squeak. So
It's so quiet in mine.
this is all that we're hearing. It's so loud.
All right.
I can't hear anyone else in my...
Oh my
This is
God.
going to be a fun one.
Well,
Welcome.
Welcome. We don't have eardrums anymore, but we're all here.
Welcome to the Big Money Stylist Podcast, episode 13. Welcome to our weekly shit show. Thank you for joining us today as Val switches headphones and pretends like she knows what she's doing at all. So with that, last week we were talking about protection and protection not only of outside of your business, but also protecting from the inside, but most importantly, protecting you from yourself and self-sabotage, which I feel segues great into this week because we will be talking about power, but really specifically the power of stories and stories you have about yourselves and the industry we're in and how that's the thing that will just fuck you up the most. So let's talk about power. Coach Val, Coach Mackenzie, what do you see as power? What is power to you?
It's my least favorite topic to talk about in here.
Why is that?
I feel like I struggle with that one the most, for sure. So that one, are we going into like it in the industry or just like in general?
Just talking about power. Why do you feel like you struggle with power?
It's like a confidence thing. So definitely you need to like stand strong in your power to be able to be successful in anything. So I think finding that in myself has been like a struggle to like find it, and then I'll do stuff and then I need to like stay in it. So definitely that one I would say is my biggest struggle out of the 4 topics we speak on.
And Kenzie, power. What is power to you, just in general?
To me, power, for myself at least, is my self-confidence. So the more self-confidence I have, the more powerful I feel. And when I'm not feeling powerful, typically it's because I'm not feeling very confident.
Yeah. So then Val, you brought up a great point, the industry, the hair industry. So in case you don't know, and this is your first time listening to Big Money Stylist Podcast, we are all artists inside of the DKW Styling Salon, and we specialize in a brand of hair extensions called Natural Beaded Rose. And so with that, I'm the lead trainer of BMS, and we have Coach Val and Coach Mackenzie. So we just kind of, we run shit is really what we do. So with that, let's talk about artists and the hair industry itself, because this has been around since for fucking ever. And Lord knows, the longer something's been around, there's story on top of story on top of story. So Val, I'm coming to you first.
All right.
What do you see inside of the hair industry and the stories that are created? Because there's just a lot that goes around.
God, there's so many. So if you're a hairstylist, it kind of like you're not taken seriously. It's like we always say, like you go from being a hobbyist to like a real like business person.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's a huge one that's in the industry. It's just like, oh, you just do hair, you know? You're just like,
You're so
that's
cute.
The
like you're
just
not
is, like,
taking
such a-
like your life seriously, you
Mm-hmm.
know? So just a hobby hairstylist. That your clients are the ones who like run the show, for sure. That's it. It's just like, no, you stay, you take walk-ins, you do every service out there, and they tell you what works for them and you make it happen. You accommodate them always.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I mean, you got to accommodate the client and they want to have like a good experience, but they don't hold all the power. And then just the scheduling, working Saturdays, obviously, that every hairstylist has worked a Saturday, and most, even if they've been in the industry for a long time, are still working Saturdays. I feel like it's kind of like a new thing that people are, you know, if they're part of BMS program. Like, you can actually say no to Saturday if that doesn't work with your schedule. You don't have to say, I'm not working Saturdays, but if Saturdays isn't working with your schedule, you actually have the power to say, nope.
I
You
know.
don't have to work weekends if you don't want to.
We've all done it. You know what? Val inspired me to not work Saturdays right before I moved here, and Danielle inspired her because as soon as they did it, I'm like, wait, what? This,
Let me jump on that train.
I'm like, I don't have to work Saturdays? Okay, well, no one told me that one. I've heard the complete opposite since forever. Thanks, world. Just kidding, but it's fine.
Thanks, world.
So, Mackenzie, what are you seeing inside of the hair industry and the stories that have been created throughout the years?
Well, I was just on the phone with an artist yesterday, and her biggest thing was she just didn't believe in herself, and she thought that she had to do all of these things that the industry tells us to do. So for her, she had to do haircuts. She had to do, you know, men's haircuts, women's cuts, kids' cuts even. And that's kind of something that we're told ever since hair school is you take anything and everything and you have to do it until you get to a place which who knows what that place actually is until you arrive, and then you can choose. But realistically, I feel like most artists never actually arrive, and they don't actually believe that they don't have to do anything. If you want to do haircuts, great, be a cutting specialist. But if you don't want to, you don't have to. And the artist that I was speaking with yesterday, she was just like, I just don't know if I'm good enough. I feel like if I let go of these people, I'm not going to be making any money, but I hate doing it. And it's crazy that she's been told that so many times that she actually believed that this was the only option for her, was to do things that she didn't like doing.
Yeah, and I think something, Val, that you touched on was that we're just hobbyists. And a lot of people, they're like, oh, what do you do? Like, oh, I do hair. And they're like, oh, I do hair. It's almost like this is the career people go into when they're too fucking stupid.
I'm embarrassed, like, because I've never, like, picked my kids up from school. And the couple times that I do, they're, like, always like, oh, and what do you do again? And I'm like, I do hair. And I'm like, embarrassed to say that because I know they're looking at me like, you're never fucking around for your kids because you do hair. And I'm like, there's so much more, but I just don't feel like telling you. So, but it is just like they're like looking at me like, really?
Yeah.
Or it could be the car that you're driving up with, and they're like, this bitch does hair. Is your husband bankrolling you, or what's going on? Because little do they know, that certainly is not the case. You know. So then
she's blushing right now.
I know. She's like, please stop talking about me and Glenda.
Gladys.
Oh.
You should know her name by now.
Val's car's name is Gladys, and apparently I'm a piece of shit and a terrible friend. I'm so sorry, okay? But with that, let's talk about stories in itself. Stories are really, it's just shit that you kind of tell yourself over and over, and they can be stories about yourself, it can be stories about business, but it's just kind of, I just consider it's just a layer of crap on top of a layer of crap of just bullshit that we tell ourselves. And really, we have stories about everything. You have stories about the person you're with, the job that you have, the car that you have, the house that you live in. It's everything top to bottom, but I feel what affects us the most are the stories we just create about ourselves. We don't know where they come from. We have no idea like why they even start or how they start. Just one day you tell yourself something and you fucking stick with it. Kenzie, stories. Do you feel like you have stories that you've told yourself throughout the years that you just fucking like stuck with for some reason?
Oh, absolutely. Man, industry like specific though was Saturdays for me. I didn't get rid of Saturdays until January of last year. And what I've been doing hair for 8 years.
I get it. And then what about you specific stories?
Specifically with me. Gosh, I was trying to think of that a second ago. I think the biggest thing for me is when I was in junior high, I was like the loud, annoying person. Can you believe it?
You're so fucking quiet.
I know. And so like for a long time, it was like, oh, you need to be quiet. Like my mom was never rude about it. She was just looking out for me. But
good job, Mom.
But she, you know, like, hey, you probably shouldn't talk so loud. Like you're blowing out everyone's eardrums. Like you probably don't need to laugh that loud. And for me, it was always like, oh, you're too loud. You're too loud. You're too loud. And so for that, forever, I've been like, oh, I need to like not speak as loudly because I'm annoying everyone. And really like, knowing you guys, you're like, oh, she's not actually that loud, so it's kind of a stupid story, but that's the first one that came to my mind. I'm sure I have a whole bucket more if you want more.
I'm sitting here like, damn, if she's loud, I'm a fucking volcano. No one can be in the same building with me then, because this room is soundproof, and I can guarantee you they can hear me right outside of it. Holy shit. So then how do you feel like having that story that you have of yourself of I'm too loud, speak quieter, I'm annoying? How do you feel that that's affected you? Like, do you feel like you grew up with that then and that kind of changed and molded you to who you are now?
Well, I think in junior high, it really affected me because I was always self-conscious. Like, oh, is everyone thinking that I'm talking too loud? And so then I'd like try to tone it down. But honestly, I haven't actually thought about that story for a while, so it's probably a terrible example for the podcast. But I think, yes, it has affected me because I definitely am cautious about how much I speak. I don't want to be the one that's like taking over, you know, whatever the conversation is. I always want to like make sure that people get their turn in or whatever else. So I'm always like checking myself, I guess. So has it like ruined my life? Absolutely not. But it's definitely something I think about. Yeah, absolutely.
Kenzie's mom, do you hear that? I'm just kidding. It's just.
What's her name?
She meant well.
It's just a joke. What's your mom's name?
Shauna.
Shauna, it's just a joke. Kenzie's delightful and wonderful. We love her. And
She'll probably be like, oh my gosh, I ruined her. I'm like, I love you, Mom. If you hear this, I love you. I don't think you listen to the podcast. We swear too much.
Shout out, Mom. Oh, yeah, she would not like me then. I've had to apologize actually before to the woman who writes our blog post. I'm like, can someone please tell Sue I'm so sorry for all my cursing? But thank you for writing this. It's delightful. So then, Val, what about you? What do you feel are some stories that you've had about yourself as an artist or as a mom, as a businesswoman, whatever it is, just encompassing you that you feel has kind of like walked with you these past few years?
I mean, pricing, that's one. Like, I came from charging like $150 to $165 for color, and then now obviously like we charge anywhere from $15 to $2,000 for extensions and color. So I was in the beginning, I'm like, I can't, and so nauseous to even like have to like say that number to people, but I'm like, I'm not worth that. But after like perfecting the craft, not perfecting, but getting better at it, I feel a little better about that. Definitely on the the teaching side, I never would have thought that I would be teaching other artists how to do anything. I'm always like, oh, no one cares what I have to say. Like, it's fine. Like, because I am really quiet and just like, not that I'm dumb, but I'm not one who like speaks in front of people and like feels the need to share my information. I just kind of always do my own thing. And if you ask me a question privately, like I'll totally answer and can do that. But like in front of people, it's really hard for me. So if you would have told me that I'd be like standing on stage at a convention in front of 300 stylists, my story would have been like, hell no, she's going to pass out. She's going to throw up, crap her pants, and pass out. And you guys are going to have a mess on your hands.
That's a drunk Saturday night. What are you talking about?
So yeah, those are a few of my stories.
Honestly, I'm still laughing at the other stories. This is a good week for all of us. So, but these are things that literally stories just kind of carry with you. I feel like you learn how to handle them. I know myself, good Lord in heaven, definitely Saturdays were a big thing for me. But even I came from charging like $100 for color to all of a sudden, $1,000 for extensions, then all the way up to, $1,500. But it was a very big thing of like, oh, I'm not the person to do that. Like she can do it, but that's not me.
Right.
My biggest one that I fought fucking tooth and nail over, which thank God I did, was moving to California. For me, it always been like a dream to be here. I moved here from St. Louis, Missouri. And I've said before, I'm just not, I'm like a West Coast. I'm like coast person. Like I need to be in the sunshine. I need to be where it's happy. I need to be by the beach, in the water. Like that is just my happy place and feeds my soul. Like you, Val, you of all people understand that, So
I like to say I'm solar powered.
Oh, my.
Can we get shirts that say that?
That is the first time I've heard you say that, and I love it.
Kenzie's like such a fan of my one-liners, and I love it. I need to keep her around more.
Every time she just slides it in.
I like the zip. I can't wait for people to watch this one later on. But really, I feel like that was my biggest thing.
Check out Kenzie's roots.
We're hiding my hair. My hair is like 3 days, should have been washed, but I'm saving it for the event. So. And I had a cute hat on today, but I'm not allowed to wear it during the podcast.
Wait, can you put the hat on over the headphones is the question.
I don't know if this is Garrett approved.
It's Pharrell, ladies and gentlemen.
Guys, if you are not watching the podcast, yes, we record it. It's obviously on audio, but we also record it live inside the studio. Go to bigmoneystylistnow.com. You can watch it, you can listen to it, or you can read it, because I'm going to tell you now, it's a good fucking time in here is what it is. And if you really want to see Kenzie's greasy hat hair.
I bet you we get the most views on this, and I'm going to be so mad at all of you. I'm going to be so mad at everyone that tuned in just because my hair is greasy.
I mean, hey, mine's too, but I dry shampooed the shit out of it, so I'm good to go. But anyway, stories. So I had this crazy story that I am not the person who can move to California. Even though it had been a dream of mine, I had visited, I mean, I feel like 1,000 times at that point for all of our education. I kept telling myself, like, well, you're not that person. You cannot up and leave and move. That's just not who you are. And I kept going over it and going over it and going over it until I was like, I eventually changed my story, which we'll get to later, but that was not easy. I mean, that could have literally derailed my whole life, which sounds so dramatic, but it's true. Coming here has just been, I mean, this is what everything has been about. My whole life, I feel like, has been leading up to this moment. But in my head, I was telling myself, you can't do that because you're not that person. And it's interesting how no matter how much we want something, we're okay with letting ourselves get in the way of doing the one thing that we truly want. Do you feel like, have you guys ever experienced that?
For sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Where have you seen it, Val, inside your life?
Well, I remember at our other class, at our other salon that I worked at, everyone wanted to know how I did like my razor cuts, because I would cut like the whole head with a razor and nothing else. And everyone thought that was super cool. And they're like, "Oh, you should do a class." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm not gonna do that." Like, and everyone's like, "Come on!" So like people would literally like come from each chair and like come over and watch me do like So I would do like one-on-one with everyone and like, "Oh, this is just how I do it. It's fine." Like, and then so they put together this whole thing for me to do it. And shocker, if you know me, I'm the biggest flake in the world, unless it's your hair appointment. But if it's anything else, I'm like a flake. Guess who flaked the night before in her own class? This girl.
No, you
Because I was like, yeah, I don't want to do that.
Love you.
I'm so not doing this. And I don't know why I said yes in the first place. And I don't teach classes, so nope. And so I like messaged the whole salon like, I don't teach classes. I'm not doing this.
The night before.
Yup. So, yeah.
How did they respond to that?
Obviously, now my story has changed because I don't flake on classes. We have one tomorrow. Guess what? I'll be there.
You're goddamn right she's going to be there because I say so. You don't want Coach Johnny coming after you.
You definitely do not.
Val, I love you. I'll fuck you up if you flake.
I'm not scared.
As she shivers in her boots.
She's fine now.
But no, really, what did they say? Were they surprised you flaked at the salon? I feel like I need more information now.
I don't remember even what happened because I didn't care.
Oh, fuck.
Wow.
I just didn't want to teach the class because that was like my whole story. I'm like, I'm not standing in front of everyone and like telling, nope, we'll keep doing the one-on-ones.
I would rather teach 10 one-on-ones than just teach one class with 10 people.
That
makes a lot of sense.
I mean, I want to say I'm so shocked and surprised, but I know Val's a fucking flake. Ryan, her husband, really, I mean, he lucked out that she agreed to marry him at this point because, damn, to have to walk down the aisle and stand in front of people. I'm surprised you didn't flake on that one, too, to be honest.
I got nervous. And not because of Ryan, but again, because of the people that were involved. I'm like, oh my God, there's two people looking at me.
Ryan, I'll meet you out in the back.
That's another story. Like, I was always saying I wasn't going to be married and I wasn't going to have kids. And look at me. I'm about to celebrate my 10-year anniversary and I got two little nuggets that I'm obsessed with. So, another story.
God, 10
You
years.
don't regret it at all, I bet.
Well, I can't say it on air, but no, I don't regret it. They're my favorite, all three of them.
This is a terrible question to ask you.
Val's kids are the best. And I feel like I sit on the neutral fence of children. Like, if it happens, yeah, all right. If it doesn't, yeah, all right, that's cool too. Val's kids are fucking cool. They are just.
They are. They're super rad. And I stand firm on the side of, like, I don't like kids, so. But I like mine.
Because they're very unique human beings is the best way to put it. I feel like her son should just come in and have his own podcast. If we could have him as a guest speaker.
I was tempted to bring him today. I'm like, let me just bring him. He talk about one-liners.
I'm not.
He is the most creative. He's 4, right?
Yeah.
The most creative, just fucking asshole little 4-year-old, but he's literally the best. And I say that with all the love in my heart because he's so fucking cool. He talks and I'm like, I hope when I grow up, I can be as clever as this kid because damn, he's a cool kid. So stories. There's another story. You're like, I'm never having kids. I'm never fucking getting married. I'm not doing any of this shit.
Yeah.
Like, that's just not who you are. So, but with that, there comes there's shifts and changes that eventually you have to change your story. I guess you don't have to, but all of us have. That's why we all sit here today. For myself, obviously, I said my California was a big one too. In case you guys have not listened to our podcast before, I was engaged. I was with someone for 6.5 years. We were engaged, set to get married in like a year's time. We are obviously not together anymore. One thing that I had to learn and a story that I had was about changing plans. Because I had it in my head, well, we're engaged. Like, we've been together for this long. We're engaged. He was like this close to moving out to California. I mean, it was a couple months away. And I was like, we're going through with it, even though there was just something something was just not well. You know, that instinct, I call it your spidey sense. It's that feeling, something's wrong. And I had it in my head, I'm like, oh, fuck, but we're engaged. Like, we got to get married. We're going to get married. Like, this is it. Oh, fuck. Like, oh, my God. And I had it in my head that when you commit, and you're fucking done. Not realizing like, no, things change and people change and plans change, and that's okay. I did end up breaking off my engagement. I'm very glad I did it now. Now I know it was definitely the right thing to do, but that was a fucking like spiral that it could have gone down. Like that could have been terrible had I not listened to myself and kept in the story of when you fully commit to something, like you have to go with it no matter how much you know it's right or wrong. So guys, let me talk to you. Where do you feel like, Kenzie, we'll come to you first. Where have you had a story where you've had to like change it? So you said Saturdays were a big thing for you.
Saturdays are huge.
What like shifted for you and being like, I have to work Saturday, have to do it to you don't have to do that anymore?
So it actually was Mason's job. So he was working in a job at a time that he was working 80 hours a week, and Saturdays he got off at 2. So every other day of the week he worked like sun up to sundown, and then on Saturdays he was working at 2. And I was like, why am I doing this? Like I don't need to work Saturdays. I'm done. I want to see Mason. I deserve to see Mason. I'm done. And that's when it switched for me. But I was thinking about like stories. Like my biggest story is I'm not a confrontational person. And that's actually a story that I've had to overcome over time. And even just confronting people about things that are bothering me, that it's still like, oh my gosh, do I have to say something? I don't want to say something. But every time that I do and I step over that hurdle, I feel more power in myself and I feel more confident every single time that I do. So that's probably a better example than
I'm too loud.
My junior high too loud. But yeah, I think about that one every single day.
And being confrontational.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
Do you feel like that's a story you have to almost keep confronting at this point?
I have
time
to
and time
confront
again?
it almost every single day. Mason says I'm actually a very confrontational person.
Interesting. I feel like most husbands would say that about their wives.
My poor husband. He's like, you're confrontational with no one except for me. I'm not sure why that works that way. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. I love you. But it's hard for me to upset people. I don't want to like make them mad. So that's something, especially in business, I've found that if I'm not upfront and if I don't just it is what it is. This is the price. This is, I'm sorry, but we're not going to be able to do that today. You were 45 minutes late. I'm not doing it. Standing in, respecting myself and respecting my time, or, if clients are not showing up, like charging that cancellation fee, things like that in business, it's helped me so much. So
Val, what about you? Where have you seen like the power of you changing your own story?
I mean, definitely like educating, because every time I'm always telling myself like, oh, no one cares, like just shut up, which no one told me that, but I just tell myself that because I'm a huge fan of myself. Cheerlead myself all the time. Shut up, Val. No one cares.
It's so fucked up.
It really is.
But it's fine. So I do have to do that, where even like when we were doing the training videos the other day on Friday, I was doing them and I'm like, well, if we don't use these for the class, it's fine. Like, no big deal. We'll use them for another training at something. And Ani like messaged me and she's like, oh my God, these are so good. We have to use these. And I'm like, oh, really? Like, I'm still like taken aback each time someone like messages me for a formula, or like when we do the trainings and people are like, oh, I really loved how you did this. And the feedback I get from people, I'm genuinely shocked each time, because the story's so big in my head that like no one cares and I have no value to add, on so many topics. But it turns out people do like to hear it. So they're asking questions and stuff, but that I have to like overcome prior to like hearing the positive feedback. Like I have to go in and be like, go in, what you're fucking talking about, color, these extensions, like, this business side, like, it, you're living it, do it. And then then when I stand in that power, it makes the process a little easier. And then I get like the positive feedback, and that keeps me like going like, oh, okay, get out of your own head, Val. Like the people like it.
The people want more.
We love it.
And it's so interesting that you say this. So for anyone who doesn't know what she's talking about in recording wise, for our mastermind program for BMS, we do a weekly live training. And inside of that, we go over business, we do hot seats, we do like personal one-on-one help with all of our students. And then we also go over NBR training and every single aspect of it, from the color to the placement to the stitching. And this is weekly. We do it every single week. We train them every single day inside of our mastermind network. So with that, what we do is we actually have one of our camera guys come into the salon and record a live client. Like, this is real-time shit going down inside the salon, not like nothing's been edited later to like cut out the bad parts. Like if shit goes sideways, which it has a couple times, you get to see it. Like this is exactly how we fix stuff. And so last Friday, it was Val's filming day inside of the salon. So after we do that, I go through, I timestamp the videos, I'm watching this and I'm just like, damn, this is so good. And watching her color the extensions, I train on this shit. I work side by side with Val, and even I was like, rewind. How'd she do that? That was fucking cool. I've never seen that. I'm like, go forward. I'm like, wait, let me go back one more time. I think I watched that part like 15 times, really. So I had texted her and I was like, oh my God, we have to fucking use this. Like, it's so good. And I could tell you had genuine, like, it was shock. You were just like, oh, really? I'm like, what the are we not watching the same videos? Because that's like Val coloring and doing extensions is literal magic. Like, it's so good. And I hear from our artists every single day because I'm the one inside the network all the time. And they always say, Val, man, Val does this and Val does that. Val should do a color class. Val should do this. Like, it's just like constant. I hear that so much that for me, I'm like, I know. Duh. Like, of course. But I know Val, even the look on your face now is like, what?
So weird.
But it's true. And that is a story. Like, I've seen you have that story for so long because we've talked about it. I mean, before I got hired on with BMS almost 6 months ago, guys.
Woo, woo.
Do I get a cake for my
half year?
Do I get a cake for my 6 months? That'd be great.
Which is really like 5 years in BMS standards. So
You got Susie Cake cupcakes today.
And I also got a private box of cookies too. So that's what I hid from everyone. One of our
sharing is caring, you asshole. We like cookies.
They're at BMS headquarters. I'll share with you guys later.
Okay, sweet.
But even with that, I mean, that's something that I have seen Val struggle with. I mean, left and right, and it's blown my mind. But even now, I've only been here for 5 months, but I see Val, like, I think back to, oh my God, the classes we used to do inside the salon and how not meek and timid you were, but how like reserved you were and just kind of like, Danielle's here, it's fine, I'm just, whatever. And now I'm like, no, like you are the person, like we use your clients inside all of the training. Like you're inside the live training, you're inside our BMS intensive classes, these people are paying $4,000 to learn NBR from Val. Like they know Val's going to be teaching this shit. Like that's fucking amazing. Like have you realized that yet? Like do you see that?
Not you just said that right now, and I was like, oh shit, I better up my game tomorrow. Getting sweaty, 4,000, Jesus Christ.
It's fine. They paid $2,000 for you, $2,000 for me. Don't worry about it. We got this. But even that, I mean, it's huge. It's funny how our stories impact us so much, and even down to, I mean, relationships. I mean, my God, how many times, even you listening, have you told yourself, well, oh, I'm not worthy of that. I'm not good enough for that person, or maybe even that person's not good enough for me. That one may or may not be true. I don't know. I don't know you. But I'm just saying we get so in our heads and we're so willing to like downplay ourselves and make us the bad guys. If you've been listening to our podcast, I don't know if we've talked about it yet, we went to a feelings convention in Utah. Feelings Con. Con is short for concentration camp. It was right beside the Utah State Prison. We would have rather have gone to prison at that point. But damn, I mean, even being there, like they really make you get super, super intense with some shit and really like handle yourself and take accountability for not only the things that happen in your life, but the own stories that you have just wound so tightly that they're like ingrained in you. Like you truly believe it's true. Yeah. And that's something even Garrett's talked about with him and Danielle, that he's gone through and repeated when they were going through a really tough time, like a story of like, Danielle doesn't want to have sex with me. And he said it so many times and said it over and over to the point where Danielle was like, I don't think I want to have sex with you anymore. Like his own story of himself, like literally projected onto another person. Yeah. And it's crazy. Like that shows you the power that these stories actually have. So we see this inside of Mastermind all the time with all of our students. They go from, I mean, Jesus fucking Christ, we see it with when they're like, I can't up my prices, I can't move, I can't do this. And, Kenzie and I, we go through and do these calls, but Val, you talk to clients day in and day out. I mean, you see the kind of stuff that they say when they're coming in. Like, what kind of stories have you, either one of you have seen from like our students? Like, can anyone like pop out to you of who's just kind of like completely changed everything?
I feel like it's everyone. It's so hard to even like go back because I've been with them like every single step of the way. So like it's hard to even remember when they first came in and how they're like saying like I can't. But like I'm thinking Amy Netterman and is coming to my mind right now, and she was like, not to throw her under the bus because she's one of my favorite people, but how she ended up coming to us was like she had been doing like NBR for a while, and one of her clients had like reached out, and then I like privately had messaged Amy like a video of like how to fix something. I'm like, here's this, because I'm like all about everyone having like the best NBR experience, and she was kind of like, I don't think I want your like advice, I wasn't asking for it. And yeah, it was like really weird and awkward for a little bit. And then a couple months later, she had like filled out the application. So I was excited that like I could see like she started like shifting. And then she signed up for the class, and I could tell like at first like the pre-training, it was like, I don't know about all this. And then she had like come to the class like, oh, I can't charge that. I can't this. I can't. By the time Home Chick was done with class,
2 days later,
she had like her email ready, like on the plane home, was like sending out her clients like, these are the new prices, these are my new rules, I'm changing shit, taking names, like it was so funny.
Not messing around at all.
Now she has her assistant. Her assistant is doing the program, and like she's setting such a good example for her, and she's giving her assistant this amazing life, who's now part of our BMS program. And like she's just like someone who at first was like, no, I got this, I did the online course, I don't need shit, to like, oh my God, BMS for life, let's bring everyone along. And
everyone has to take it.
Yeah, so she's one that's come like full circle, that stands out to me.
And I love Amy. She's actually fucking hysterical. And it's funny because
God, I love her.
She is just so like sassy, and not snarky in a bad way, but so like quick-witted and like dry. And
super dry, which I love.
Those are my favorite personalities, of course. But I remember Amy's BMS intensive because I was here for that. And it's so funny to me because she was like, Ani, I thought you were such a fucking bitch. I'm like, okay, well, won't be the first time I hear that. Definitely not the last one. But it's true. The whole time, I mean, for most of the 2 days, she was like, I can't do that. I can't do that. But for her, what yanked her out of that was her kid. Yeah. She's like, I spend no time with my baby. My mom raises my baby. My sister raises my baby. I'm not fucking doing this. And that is what was able to yank her out of that place, to be like, shit has got to change. Yep. If I want this to change, I have to change, and I have to be the person to make those changes. So I know for me, I've talked about it before, moving to California, for me was literally like a tiny like step-by-step process, almost like a ticking in my head. Because I sat there, I'm like, I can't move to California. You bought a house 6 months ago. You're engaged. Like, are you fucking crazy? You're making good money. You work for yourself. Like, you can't do that. Can't do it. Can't do it. Then I'm like, but if I were to do it, let's just say, okay, let's say I'm packing up my bags, I'm going to California. What's the first thing? I'm like, I should probably find somewhere to live, because, I mean, I see that sleeping under piers is cool in movies and Baywatch, but I don't think I can live that life. I like toilets and showers, as it turns out. So I'm like, okay, well, what would it look like for me to live there? So I started looking for condos and a place to live. And then from there, I'm like, okay, let's say I live there. I should probably have a cosmetology license and do hair legally. Don't worry, I have one here.
Jillian Chill.
Jill. But hope she listens to this one later. But even then, I'm like, okay, well, what do I need to do to get my license? Turns out, have reciprocity. I already have it. I'm good to go. It was things like that. For me, it was a small tick. And I think for me, one of the biggest things I've told myself, because we always say, well, that's not going to happen to me. That's for someone else. Yeah. That's somebody else's life to lead. Like, that is something that someone else's. Well, someone else wins the lottery. Someone else has the chance to stand on stage in front of 300 artists. Someone else is able, to go cross country. It's always someone else. But I'm someone else. Yep. To the artists who listen to us on this podcast, to the stranger listening, I'm that somebody else.
Same.
Yeah. To the person who walks down the street, I'm somebody else. The people who sit in our chair, we are somebody else. So if I'm somebody else to somebody else, why can't I be the person to do this? And I think once I realized that, I'm like, holy fucking shit, everything is up to me 100%. And I was like, okay, you're either going to sink, you're going to fucking sink or swim, but you're going to try this for sure. And I had my bags packed, and I was moved down here in like 2 weeks. I was like, well, see you guys later. It's been good knowing you. I'm out to California to live my dream life. So, and I feel like that's like such a big, like, changing the story that you have is so important, but it's so hard to do.
Yeah, it's so hard to do.
It's so ingrained in us. And so, like, it's the voices and the stories in our head are so much stronger than what the truth of the matter normally is. Yep. So here, inside of Warrior and inside of BMS, we have adapted something called the stack. It's a magical form full of questions, but really the whole point of the stack, in like kind of the easiest ways to put it, it's a list of questions. And normally it starts when something triggers you or you feel a certain way about something, like something happens and, okay. And Coach Kenzie is stepping out of the room. Coach Kenzie has left the building. But with that, it's, the stack is it's just a list of questions. And in these questions, it's because obviously when something happens, when we have a story, when something triggers us, it makes us mad, upset, we're fucking angry, we have a lot of feelings towards it. And as human beings, we tend to, stuff it down. Val?
It's my specialty, thank you.
Does stuffing feelings down sound oddly familiar to you?
No, I have zero feelings.
Oh my God, okay. That is not true. Val is mushy and marshmallowy on the inside.
Deep down.
It's a black heart and soul.
Those are my eyes.
Someone once looked at Val and they go, "You look dead in the eyes."
It's the sweetest compliment I ever got. Thank you.
Thank you, Utah. We appreciate that. But really, I mean, that's what we tend to do. We push it down and we say, "I'll handle it later. I'm not going to think about it now. I don't care. Like, I'm just," and we tend to think the more we shove it off, the better it's going to get. Now, I was
not
raised.
So much.
No, that is literally the complete opposite. It's never the case. So I know myself, I was raised with the mentality of, when you feel something like that, when you're angry, when you're so upset, when someone's just fucking pissing you off or something happened and you just have very strong negative feelings towards it, if you take that and you push it down, which I will say I've also been a queen of doing that, which is why I've been sent to not one, but 2 feelings conferences. Clearly I'm a work in progress as a human being, so go me, thank you. FYI, I'm going to part 2 in June. So
I heard.
Ooh, I know, I'm gonna keep the torture going. Just kidding, it'll be great. So with that, but I was raised with the mentality of, when you have something so negative and you feel so strongly about it, you really need to let it out. So by nature, I just talk about shit. Not to everyone. I'm not like, "Hi, can I take your order?" Yeah, so I broke up with my fiance. I'm not that much of a hot fucking mess. But very selectively, Val, I think, knows my deepest, darkest secrets at this point. I don't know. I don't think there's anything you don't know about me at this point.
Yeah.
Because you and I've said before, I'm pretty sure that Val and I, our souls knew each other in another life.
Yep.
I think this is our second life together, and it's so cool. I love you, boy. I'm like, "You my boy, Blue." I stuttered, but I got there in the end. So with that, I know myself, to very selective people, I'm willing to talk about problems, and I'm willing to talk about how I feel and what's been going on and kind of situations that go back and forth. That's, I'm okay with doing that. Not to everyone, but I feel when you let go of that negativity and you let go of that bad energy that you're harboring, you create space. And inside that space, you can make it whatever it is you want it to be. You can fill it with a different story, with happiness, with joy, with just something else that's productive to your life. And Val, I know you don't generally do the stack,
right,
but I feel like that's also something that you do in your own way.
Yeah.
So how is it that you handle shit like that? Because you're a free framer like a motherfucker. You are.
It's a talent.
You're the queen of reframing everything.
Because I have to have a positive spin on something for me to move forward. I cannot move forward in negativity, which I know the world is not all sunshine and rainbows and unicorns. I wish it was, but it's not. So whenever something happens, I'm not the person to keep talking about it to everyone or get advice, because I definitely there's just something inside me where I don't need outside validation so much. I have to be okay with my own decisions and what's going on, but I do have to have that slice of positivity. So whatever it is, I'll have the conversation with myself like a crazy person and just say it out loud and then when you say it out loud, or I can even talk to you about things now, and Ryan I speak to about things, but to a select few. And once you say it out loud, then I can hear something. Once you say something out loud, you hear it from a different angle. And then I can just okay, now this, I could see it from that way. So I just keep saying it out loud until I can find an angle or a little nugget of positivity that I can hold on to, or see it from someone else's perspective. I can never go from victim mentality. That's not my jam. Or a place of hopelessness. There has to be a solution for anything, so I'll just, whatever the situation is, I just have to keep reframing it, retelling the story until I can find something positive that I actually have the power to fix. Because there are situations you can't control other people, you can't control this, but I can control my reaction, I can control my part in things. And so I'll just reframe it until there's something that I feel I can do that's productive to move forward, productive and positive for me to move forward. And then once I find that, then it's game over, and I could seriously forget all the negative shit that goes with it. I literally discard it and don't even acknowledge it, and I can move forward. But it's this weird little process inside my brain, and that I do a little bit out loud, that That's how I move forward to like not get stuck in a story or not get debilitated by like something negative that's going on. I could always find like some sort of a positive to like move forward.
Oh, yeah. And I've seen her do it. I've seen her do it a million times, and it is super good. But you're right that, and I think maybe that's why I'm just now realizing this as you say it. The reason I like talking to, really, I feel like it's you that I talk to. It's my mom that I talk to. And I feel like you two are really like,
similar.
My secret diary keepers. Like, you guys are my walking, living, breathing diaries. Good for you. But really, it's the more you talk about things, you do see it from a different aspect. You gain clarity little by little. And sometimes, have you ever been so fucking mad at something, you say it out loud and you're like, I sound fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
This is the dumbest thing to be mad about.
Or sometimes it just takes saying it out loud and then being like, oh, I feel better. Like, and there doesn't need to be any reframing. It's just
got it out.
Fresh air.
I'm done. Good. So with that, that's really kind of what the stack is almost. It's just a way you go through and it just basically says like, how are you feeling today? Like, who triggered you? What about this situation made you so fucking angry? If you could yell anything, the release the rage part is, I'm not going to say my favorite, but it is.
You're good at it.
I'm very, very good at it. But I go through and you just say like literally however it is you actually feel about the situation. And something we always tell our students, because all of the warriors for Wake Up Warrior do it. All of the students inside of BMS and Mastermind do the stack now because we've introduced it to them, because it's just a good way to find clarity and just a peace of mind to go forward and not be so stuck in fucking Val. That bitch pissed me off today. She looked at me sideways. Do you see her eat that cupcake? Fuck her and eating that. Like, just stupid shit that, or even important shit. The way that I actually realized that I should end my engagement, so I was actually sitting in a place of complete meltdown territory. I had no idea what to do, because either breaking up would be the best decision I ever made, or it would be the worst and I was going to die alone forever. That's literally how my head was. Or we could stay together and that would either be the best decision ever, or it would be the worst and I would resent him, he would resent me, and it would end in divorce. Clearly, there were no good options on my plate, and I went back and forth to, do we stay together? Do we break up? Do we stay together? Do we break up? Like, it was a fucking just whirlwind of shit. I called Val crying. I called my mom crying. Like, and it was just like not getting better until Garrett called me and said, we're doing the stack today. And it took an hour and 15 minutes. He walked me through it step by step. I actually have it recorded on my phone. I'm actually not brave enough to go back and listen to it because I don't want to hear myself blubbering. That's not, it's not my favorite state of myself, but it's okay. I still have it. But even then, the stack by the end of it, because it's not just like release the rage, get it all out. It's a place where you find a solution. But I feel you gain the power to find that solution because it's you coming up with it. No one's coming up. Dr. Phil's not coming in and saying, Ani, shit's not going to end well. You should probably break it up. I came to that conclusion myself. It just walks you through step by step where you're able to look at it from every single angle. It's not just, oh yeah, Val was wrong, you were right. He was wrong, you're right. Or you're right, he's wrong. It's, is this true or is it false? What would be possible if it were false? What would it look like if it were true? What proof, what facts do you have that the story you have that you're repeating so often is actually true? And so that is what I love about the stack so much. And I've done quite a few now. I stacked my ex-fiance, I've stacked Garrett, our team members. I heard someone stack the stack once. They're like, this fucking shit's too long. It's pissing me off. It needs to be 3 questions. So those are my favorite stories. But with that, we have, it's just such a good place and it's such a good tool to use. Because number one, it's private. If you choose to share, which here inside Wake Up Warrior and BMS, like, yeah, we totally share it. But we also go into it knowing like, hey, it's nothing offensive, but you fucking triggered me. Here's what happened. But here's how I feel now. And what I think is very cool, Garrett and I have actually stacked each other. It was not a nice one. A lot of cursing in those two. But even with that, afterwards, we were able to have a conversation without pointing the finger.
Yes.
Without being like, well, you did this and you did that. And him being like, well, you fucking did this. And there was it wasn't that like anger and aggression. It was just like, you know what? This is how I felt. And this is how I see it now. But if we can maybe still talk about it, that'd be great. But it takes away, I feel, all of that like heaviness almost when you really want to like fight and argue with someone. Because sometimes you're looking for that. You are looking to fight. You're looking to argue and like poke and prod and just be like, fuck you very much because you're so mad at them. And that's not productive. Like that gets you absolutely nowhere. Nope. So one of the biggest things that really is that I've learned from the stack itself is you have power over all of this. And the biggest power you can give yourself is the power of choice. It's a choice. Everything is a choice. So I'm going to go to the best reframer in the world.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take a bow, Coach Val. But really talk about it is a power of choice and a choice of feelings and everything inside your life.
Yeah, I do. Like, and I knew that from like a young age. I don't think that was anything that was like taught to me. I just like felt that from a young age. I remember always thinking like, I can always choose to be in a good mood. I could choose to like be healthy. I could choose to like anything. And I love that. I hate that anything like happening to you or that victim mentality. And you know how I feel about like the universe and like everything being connected and all of that. And whatever works for you. But this is like the kind of, I don't even know the word for it, but this is like the mindset that works for me, is that like everything is connected and I have the power of that. So if anything's not going right, I would way rather blame myself and come up with a solution than blame anyone else, because I can fix me. I can fix what I'm doing daily. I can fix my mindset. I can fix my mood. Like, I have so much control and power over that, and that is so freeing to me. So I have the power of like what I'm doing in my career. I have the power of like my mood. I have the power of like my feelings. I have the power of like all of that. So I'm very like careful about like who I let around me, what I let into my world, and how, so that I can like keep that like sacred. And like we always talk about the protection in the podcast, but I need to protect all of that so that I can stand in my power. So it is a choice how I feel. I can wake up every single day and be like, oh my God, I work so much, I'm so depressed. Like, but I could be like, oh my God, this is so cool. Not only do I get to do like hair, which I absolutely love, I get to train other stylists. I get to inspire people. I get to, bounce back and forth. I have ADD brain, and like I get to bounce back and forth between these two really cool jobs, and like nothing's ever the same, and we're growing so fast. Like I could be like overwhelmed and depressed and like stressed the fuck out by everything, but I choose to like be like so grateful and like appreciative that this is my life and I have all these endless opportunities, not being overwhelmed by it. That's a choice that I make daily, to not be overwhelmed by it, but be like overwhelmed by the gratitude, not by the stress of it,
Oh yeah.
And that catapults me to like keep going. And we've seen people come and go within this company, and you and I are like diehards. The last two still standing in the podcast apparently. But we choose to like keep going no matter what. Stop laughing.
I really enjoyed that one joke. I'm good. You keep going, Val. You're on a roll.
But like it's hard to like, other people don't have that in them, and so this is how we roll. And I lost my train of thought because your laughing was making me laugh so hard. I don't even know where I was going.
It's not my fault. She made a fucking joke, and it was so good. You were fucking preaching. I was ready to say, hallelujah, Val. You did it.
And then I dropped the ball. That's that ADD brain I was talking about. But anyways, I choose to work really hard. You choose to work really hard. I choose to be like grateful for the opportunities. And like not everyone chooses that. A lot of people come in and they're like, we want what Val and Ani have, and we want like the Danielle and Garrett lifestyle. And then they come in and they see how much we work, and they're like, no. But they choose to see it as like an overwhelming thing, where I feel like you and I are always going into it looking at like another opportunity to like step up to the plate, to rise up to the occasion, prove ourselves, grow, and then another opportunity is just around the corner, like, and it's this super fun game, but you have to look at it in that aspect, as opposed to like, oh my God, they're asking something else of me. Oh my God, I can't do this. There's not enough hours in the day. Oh my God, I can't, So I think the mindset has like been so beneficial for you and I in growing in this company, because stuff changes so fast. We move at lightning speed, and it is nonstop. But it's amazing, and because we look at it and we're so grateful for it, that's what keeps coming to us, not being overwhelmed. Do we get stressed? Yes, but we're never paralyzed by that. We choose to keep moving forward. We choose to see the opportunity. We choose to keep it positive. We choose to grow throughout these growing pains, and we choose day in and day out to like be better than we were the day before. And looking back, like, God, you look back at yourself in 6 months and you don't even like recognize that person anymore. And it's super exciting. And I think that shows you the power of like you have the choice to like look at it as being overwhelmed or whatever the situation may be in your life. But I choose to look at it as like endless opportunities, and I will always choose the positive and be a better person, a better version of me each day to keep me growing and like stay in that power to have the life that like I never could even dream of, because the stuff I have now was stuff I never even thought was possible,
Oh yeah.
So
And that, I mean, I could not agree more. And it's something like Val said, we see this all the time because people do look at our lives and they're like, oh, well, Danielle and Garrett live on the beach and Garrett has a Lambo and Danielle, you see her unpackaging, what do they call unboxing on Instagram. And they're like, oh, look at all the shit she buys. Yeah. And their life seems great and wonderful. And they have a beautiful, wonderful life. But no one sees the fucking hustle behind the scenes. They see Val with Gladys, her brand new car, and her fucking Balenciagas that she just bought, and they're like, oh, Val lives such a great life. I want that. But they don't see that she's 33 and has been hustling for fucking 10, 13 years now. They don't see that. They like to see, everyone loves to see the outcome and the end result. Right. But then once they actually step into our world, I mean, it's overwhelm central. And it's literally, we always say, you either hang yourself or you fucking make it. And we see people hang themselves all the fucking time because they can't keep up. Same with me. For me, I think it will always be California and then my ex-fiance because I realized at the end of the day, everything is up to me. The life I want is up to me. The choices I make, like if I want to live by the beach and be in California, that's my choice. Yep. No one's going to hand it to me. No one's going to give it to me. I'll have to work and fucking work harder than I've ever done in my whole life and harder than I ever will, but it's my choice. If I don't want to get married because I know that something's wrong in the relationship, that's my choice. If I choose to go forward and get married knowing something's wrong, that's also my choice. Right. And I think that is what is so beautiful about realizing that at the end of the day, no one has any control over anything you do except for you. If you're sitting there as an artist and you're saying, well, I can't raise my prices, says who? Yeah. Says you. You're the only person saying that you can't do that. You're the only person telling yourself that you have to work Saturdays. It's just you saying this to yourself. And I know that someone is going to respond and be like, but my boss says I work in a commission salon and I can't do it. Cool. It's your choice to be in a commission salon.
Yeah, everything comes down to you. So if you're a stylist listening to this and there's something about your business that you don't like, it is the most freeing thing to know that you have the power to change that. Mm-hmm. And I just think that your whole world opens up when you finally get that you have the power over everything. Like, it's so cool even like as a mom, like I don't like other kids, but you know what? I like my kids because I get to raise them how I want. So they're really cool little nuggets who like can communicate with adults and understand sarcasm at 4 and use it and throw one-liners at you that punk you. Like, good for you, Lennox, you know? But I had the power to like, hey, let's raise these kids to be like cool, so we want to be around them and not be one of those parents that like hates their kids. And same thing with like your business. Like what I didn't like in my business, like now I'm able to change that and make my business so that it's something that I like. My free time, anything. Like I actually have the power to make my life as like stressful or as beautiful and zen as I want it to be. And that is like the most freeing thing about power.
And then with the stack itself, because shit goes sideways. You're going to get mad or upset. Neither one of us are saying like our lives are perfect and we live in sunshine and rainbows. Like, fuck no. We're triggered fucking, I feel like every day by someone or something where we sit here and we call each other. We're on the phone by 5:30 in the morning every day. And I hear Val like, did you fucking hear the shit yesterday? I'm like, did you hear the shit yesterday? Can you fucking believe her? Can you believe this shit? All right, well, yeah, all right. And then we're just talk about it and we're like, all right, cool. Well, see you at work later. All right, see ya. Good talk. Good to get that out. But it's just, this shit happens every day. But what I love about the stack and going through that is it's not, because I feel like things are very leading. When people try and give you advice, they're like, well, you should feel this way. Well, you shouldn't feel this way. Well, it is what, the stack isn't like that. You're walking yourself through your own feelings. You're walking through yourself through how you feel about something. And so when you come to that end conclusion, and I'm telling you, I stacked a team member, one of the warriors on the Wake Up Warrior side. He doesn't know, so maybe I shouldn't be saying this, but it's fine. But I stacked him, and the whole fucking thing was like, this fucking asshole did this and blah, blah, and this is how I feel. And I was just so like, not even mad, but just like frustrated writing this. And by the time I hit the end, it went, meow, and it was like a complete left turn. And the whole entire thing reeled right back into me and how I felt about something and the stress that I was feeling about something else, which led to me stacking literally myself the next day. Yeah. So I just think it's so fucking cool that really, and all the stacks, I mean, surprise, let me not ruin it. They always end up on you. Because not that you're the problem, but you're choosing to feel that way. The anger I had towards whatever warrior this was, or whatever feelings you have, I chose to feel that, and then I chose to end it as well. Yep. I'm like, don't fucking like this, don't like feeling this way. And I feel that also comes down to clear communication. When you're clear on yourself and you know what it is you're doing and you know why you feel that way and you know you don't like it or that you want to change it, it's very easy to have a conversation, say, Val, the other day, or I'm going to change this actually, for Val to come to me and be like, Ani, I sent you to this Mexican place. You didn't like the beans, and I'm very upset.
That did happen.
Oh, I'm aware that happened. That's actually why it's my example. And she was like, I can't believe you didn't like these beans. Was it funny? Yep. Was she serious? Yeah, actually. She's going to laugh.
I take my Mexican food extremely seriously. And I felt she disrespected the beans and the cheese that was broiled on top with love.
They were decent. I'm so sorry.
They were delicious. Not decent, delish.
They were delicious. They were great. Is that better? Are you happy now?
I didn't feel it behind it, okay?
They were great.
I hear the words. I'm not feeling them.
Well, we're going to this fucking bean talk has been going on for like, I've lived here for 5 months. It's been going on for 4.5 months. 4.5 of the 5 months that I've lived here. These fucking beans won't be let go. Val's choosing to still be upset about it.
I'm stacking them. I'm stacking you and the beans. Found my first stack.
Val is choosing to be offended by my words about these fucking beans. Ridiculous. And I love it. But at the end of the day, guys, it all comes down to you. You are the person who is in charge of everything inside of your life. There is nothing, not one thing inside of your life that you cannot take control over. You can change everything. You can change where you live. You can change where you work. You can change who you're in a relationship with. You can change who you surround yourself with. Val and I lead very similar lives. We are very like super close quarters. Quality, not quantity of friends.
Yes.
I know at any point day in time that my friends now that I have, at any time if I need them, they're there. Because we are all like super fucking ride or die for each other because we have so much love for each other. But I choose to spend my time with people that I like truly love and who I know love me. I don't have time for anything else. I don't want time for anything else. I don't have time for half-ass fucking friends because that's the life I choose to lead. I know I'm happy waking up every single day. Tomorrow, I'm already trying to convince myself, please don't wake up at 3:30. I know your event starts tomorrow and you're very excited. Please don't do that. Get some sleep, body.
Can you sleep until 4 or 4:30 like our normal days?
It's very hard, but I could easily look at this week knowing 2 classes back to back. It will be about a normal day will be 12 hours. A not normal day will be probably 15, 16 with the cocktail party and graduation. So I have 2 12, 13-hour days and then 2 16-hour days in the next 4 days. I could easily look at that and be like, this is going to be a fucking shit show. I'm going to be so tired. And I'm like, it's Christmas week.
It's going to be the best week ever.
Everybody knows BMS week is seriously fucking Christmas to me. Like, yeah. I love it. Is it going to be hard? Yeah. Are we going to be tired? Oh, yeah.
For sure.
But it's so rewarding, and that's how I look at everything with BMS. That's why I've said, BMS, I'll murder for it. Like, you want to start shit? I'll fucking kill you. I'm going to hate mail for that one. But I will throw down for anything inside of BMS and anyone inside of it. Same with Val. You'll do anything for DKW and NBR because it's like we love it so much, and it's a choice. No one's made us. Danielle didn't make you come here. Garrett didn't force me to come here. We chose this life. And because we chose it, we own it and we live it every day how we want to live it.
And what I like, too, is you don't have to wait till tomorrow. You don't have to wait until next week or next month. Like, if in the middle of your day's not going how you want it to do, take a deep breath, figure out how you can, like, change that and change it. Like, change what needs to be changed. And if it's your business, I can guarantee that BMS will make your business better. And we would love to have you come out. Obviously, our stuff is sold out, but we will be releasing our fall schedule in the middle of summer. Woo woo! So, yeah, I just think if you're not happy about something and you're listening to this and you're like, God, this isn't working, instead of taking your normal, like, pity party route and thinking, oh, this happened to me, yeah, but I can't do this, or this person did this to me, or my boss, my coworkers, my schedule, guess what? We all have 24 hours in the day. We all have the same schedule. So instead of taking that same route, take it on a different route of like how you can change it. What is there something that you can do today to start changing and getting different results? If you don't change anything, you're going to continue to have the same exact life. So if you want something different, do something different. Stand in your power and do that.
So we're going to end with me fixing that piece of hair. We're going to end with that.
All right.
And asking yourself, what is it in your life that you don't like? What story do you have right now about yourself? What story have you been telling yourself for so long, You've actually convinced yourself that it's true. And how can you go about changing it? Because at the end of the day, your life is yours to lead and it's no one else's. I can't save you. Val can't save you. Garrett can't save you. Wake Up Warrior, BMS can't save you. You can change it though. So you think about this until next week and we'll come back. And on that note, see you guys later.